Hello, I'm Natekokernot. Welcome to my channel. Today I want to lay out the only way to go if the complete awareness of love is your destination. It's not a path through time and space. It doesn't involve any real action steps. If you're thinking it will involve activism or protest, or that it will require you to increase your charitable donations next month, it will not. It also doesn't forbid any of those actions. It's just not about taking action so much as it is about changing your mind about the way things are. Finding and choosing love does not involve anything from this world. It actually requires a forgiveness of this world, because that which you are probably referring to as this world is not the real world. It is a veil thrown over the real world by the separate self-identity, sometimes called the ego, to prove to us that we are not safe and that we are all alone. The ego tries to convince us that its guidance, its solutions, are the only ones that will keep us safe. Its guidance is to be fearful and not to trust. Its ultimate goal, which it does not reveal to us, is to prolong the time that we are held here in this world of separation, because only in a world of separation does the ego have any legitimate claim to power. To be clear, I'm not saying that we live in a world of separation. I'm actually saying the opposite. We live in a world that was and is built from love and only love. I'm saying that our ears and our eyes, foremost among our sensory perceptions, were not designed to show us the real world. Our eyes and ears, both being part of our bodies, which are themselves the primary symbol for separation, were designed to show us this world of separation in place of heaven. If we knew that we were in heaven, which is the real world beyond the veil, the ego would have no purpose. Forgiveness would have no purpose either if we already knew that we were in heaven. So here's where I tell you about true forgiveness. It's sometimes referred to as radical forgiveness and has even been called quantum forgiveness. In this world of separation, where we have already accepted the fact that we are all different in oh so many ways, the best sort of forgiveness that we have on our menu is having pity on the one who we deem to have hurt us in some way. The false forgiveness of this world asks us to place ourselves in the higher moral position, look down on our brother and his sinful acts, as well as on the hurts he has supposedly caused us, and pity him rather than punish him. It tells us that we are morally superior to him, but that we should let him off the hook, forgive him his trespasses, and all that stuff. What this sort of forgiveness accomplishes is that it removes the conflict from the external space and parks it instead inside of us. We will feel both anger and resentment towards the brother who did us wrong in our eyes, and guilt because we're having a hard time refraining from cursing his name, since he did hurt us after all. And we will very likely still feel afraid for our safety, since after all, he's still on the loose and he still has those evil intentions. The false forgiveness approach doesn't logically make any sense if it's safety that we're seeking. If we wanted to feel safe, we should have pressed charges and got this guy locked up. But if we do that, we're not forgiving in the proper way, which means that we're not really all that morally superior after all. It's a head fake where everyone involved ends up not measuring up according to our own estimation. This conventional style of forgiveness does not have any real healing effects. It just makes us all more afraid and more cautious, which is just what the ego wanted us to feel. It's how the ego maintains our allegiance to its plan for salvation. I want to repeat something from my last video here. The ego tells us we're safe as long as we do what it tells us to do. The Holy Spirit, which is the quieter voice in our heads, that remembers the truth about us, that we are all one mind, made from changeless love. It just says, you are safe. The only forgiveness that will work to make us feel truly safe is to forgive ourselves for perceiving something that didn't really happen. True forgiveness is forgiving ourselves for making something not real, real to us. This is the Course in Miracles version of forgiveness, and it definitely extends beyond ACIM as well. It rests on the principle that perception is projection, and is therefore giving us a very distorted version of what actually is there. I have been talking about the science of it in my recent series on perception. Spirituality and the leading edge of science do actually agree on this matter, but if you don't give it your attention, you'll never find out how much science and spirituality actually agree. If you do choose to go back and watch my perception playlist, you will find links to videos of scientists in the more section of those videos. And the purpose behind my doing that was that I don't expect you to just take my word for it. I want you to go see for yourself what the science is saying. Because if you're like me, and you grew up in a non-secular liberal household, science was the replacement for religion in terms of seeking for the truth. But I found out that science has landed on the same truth that spirituality has been describing for millennia. The world we perceive with our senses is not the real world at all. A Course in Miracles says so much about forgiveness. It's one of the central themes in a book that weaves a lot of different themes together. It also sprinkles its practical advice on forgiveness throughout the book, so it was difficult for me to develop a procedure for forgiveness. That was until a teacher of A Course in Miracles named Nuke Sanchez was given a download from the Holy Spirit, which she shared with the rest of us. And it's called the 7 Principles of Quantum Forgiveness. I'm going to spend the next 7 days going over each of these principles one at a time. When I was first deeply involved in studying the Course, back at the very beginning of the COVID scare, I had many grievances that I wanted to forgive. I envisioned Nuke's forgiveness principles as something like an automated car wash. First, as you roll in, the sprayers come on. Next, that big brush comes down on the windshield and sweeps over the entire top of the car, front to back. And then those side brushes come, then this, then that, then the wax. And then the doors open on the opposite end and you pull out in a sparkly car, free of all the grime that you collected over the past few weeks. I ran my grievances through this 7-step forgiveness process over and over again. And one day, because I did it with such a high degree of earnestness, wanting nothing else but to forgive these grievances, it actually worked. I felt the grievances lift off of me and was certain that they would not return. That was 6 years ago, and I can say those particular grievances have not returned, although I have had to run many other grievances through the car wash since then. The point is, it works. But back to fear and love. The only way to truly know that love is all that really exists is to practice forgiveness, and to get clear on what forgiveness actually is before you practice. I hope you're finding these ideas helpful. Like and subscribe if you do, and please feel free to leave a comment below, even if you disagree, especially if you disagree. Have a wonderful day, and I'll see you again next time.